You would not expect your physical appearance or your fitness and health to change if you are constantly consuming the same amount of food, the same types of food, especially if there was no sort of nutrient value to them, or you're constantly over or under eating and expecting this to achieve the result that you want to see. So how can you expect consuming the same content on social media, watching Netflix all the time, drowning yourself, binging TV, watching movies? How can you expect that to change the way that you think? How can you expect listening to the same negative music, feeding into the same emotions, talking about the same things, repeating the same messages? How can you expect that to change your thoughts? One of the toughest things about actually self-developing is changing how we talk to ourselves up here, our own narrative, our first thoughts in the morning. I've struggled with this so much, and I honestly can't tell you that I've found the perfect solution yet, but I just want to share with you my experience of what's helped me over time. So through the first period of my life where I started to think a little bit differently, I really noticed this gap between what I was doing, who I was hanging out with, the things I was saying, and just this massive dissonance between who I aspired to be and who I actually was and how I was behaving. And that started to drive me in the direction of wanting to leave some of the negative habits behind, wanting to move on with my life, wanting to meet new people who could inspire me, who could teach me things. But to move from point A to point B was a very lonely chapter, a very lonely process. And I really don't like the concept that you have to completely do this on your own. However, there may be a period of time that you do. What I did in that instance initially was just start to change what I was consuming, what I was reading, what I was watching, what I was listening to in the form of books, podcasts, and this progressed over time. What this helped me do was start to shift my perspective. It gave me education, new knowledge and understanding of things. I could relate it to myself and how I perceived the world and the people around me, how I acted, why I acted that way. There is a lot of good content out there, and it's a matter of taking it all with a grain of salt and using it for your own mission, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to improve your life. Because if you keep consistently watching garbage content all the time, if you're listening to aggressive music or really sad and emotional music consistently, you drown yourself in TV, movies, you're constantly just slamming through Instagram reels and TikTok videos, you're going to keep feeding yourself just this wide array of content that may not actually be adding value to your life. It may be causing more confusion, reducing the amount of clarity that you actually have. So how do you actually start making this change? Well, I think it's as simple as taking it one step at a time. For me, if I was eating a meal at times, I know it's not the best way to do it, but I might watch, back in the day, some sort of motivational video. Over time, as I started to walk more, which was a great thing for my mental health as well, this was a good time to listen to a podcast. Another great time to listen to a podcast is if you are someone who is having to commute to work every day. If you've got 15, 20, 30 minutes, if you've got an hour, perfect. You can listen to a lot of content in that time. And because you're most easily influenced in the morning, this is a great time to do it and set the tone for the day. And just like training or starting to eat differently, starting to control your sleep more, the more consistent this becomes, if it's on a daily basis, then you start to get more and more information. You start to influence the way you're thinking, the thoughts that you have, the words that you speak, the way that you behave. I'm not saying it's going to solve all your problems, but this is a very actionable step to actually changing how you think, behave, and therefore the person that you're going to start to become, the man that you're going to start to become. It is very hard to become that man that you want to be when your circle does not support it. For some of us, we're lucky and we have people in that circle who may be headed in the same direction. Some people may be trying to pull you back down, like the crabs in a bucket analogy. And I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone, but there is a possibility. As a bloke who is nearly 30 years old, even though it's a relatively short time on the earth, I think I've wasted enough time not trying to work on what's going on up here. And considering I want to help you guys out there who are struggling with their mental health, the mental resilience, the emotional resilience to actually carry toward your goals, be able to take setbacks, bounce back, and keep moving forward. This is a topic that we need to talk about, and it's something that you need to stay accountable to. So if this is a reminder for you today to start to shift the content that you're actually consuming, to start to read more books, listen to more audiobooks, podcasts, watch more YouTube videos with content that informs you, empowers you, changes your perspective, gives you a better understanding of yourself, about others, why you do the things you do, why they do the things that they do. This is the message for you to get on top of that and start making a change. It's not just about the grind, the hustle, changing your diet and starting a new training routine. It all starts with this, and we know it's such a cliche, but why do we still forget about it? Why do we keep getting in these cycles, repeating the same actions, getting the same outcomes? We're not keeping ourselves accountable to it, and we're probably underestimating how powerful it is to consistently just have something there. We also need time to process our own thoughts. We also need time to reflect. We also need time to maybe change our own perspective of things, or give ourselves a little bit of time to reflect and create greater self-awareness. Maybe it is after you've actually switched off a podcast, or you've stopped reading the book, where you can sit back and think about how you could integrate some of this information into your life and apply it. So if you are the guy that is struggling to change his perspective of things, maybe you're having some struggles with your mental health at this point, maybe you're just feeling like you're hitting a plateau and you need to shift your perspective. If you haven't picked up a book, if you haven't listened to a podcast or an audio book, if you haven't watched something or had a conversation that really shifted your perspective, influenced you, informed you, and empowered you, I would highly suggest that you get onto that as soon as possible so you can start making some tangible changes in your life. And as always with the content that I'm putting out here, this is advice to past me, current me, and maybe future me as well. So instead of listening to some aggressive hip hop music or death metal music whilst I was training today, I flicked on a podcast, hence why I'm in this frame of mind right now. And that's really made a big difference in my day, and it's given me a couple of ideas. It's influenced my mood and I guess my trajectory for the week, and maybe some of the content I'll do this week as well. So let's see what happens for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments if this video was helpful, and also let me know if you've got any other content ideas that would help you that I can help produce in future. Until next time guys, see ya.